Yes, well, as far as agricultural and food security is concerned,
yes, sir.
Luckily we come from the tropical region, where with little or no incentive, there's production of rice, yams, cassava, and name it all. But if you want to go industrial with these things, you need to push in a little bit of incentives for the farmers. And that way, you can produce things like cassava and get industrial starch, for example. Talking about getting things like flour or adhesives and so many other things which are required in the industrial world.
Yeah.
Now, if there are other things that we can get, things like fish and meat going into the piggery, for example. Now, talking about cassava, for example, we have gone to check with Umodike. It is clear that the eastern axis is where the best cassava is gotten in Nigeria.
The whole of Nigeria.
And we also now know that Nigeria produces the best and the highest quantity of cassava worldwide. Why are we not taking advantage of that? We can, as a result of this, encourage these farmers to do more that we need for our domestic consumption. More because it's staple food for us here. We can do more by industrializing this and making sure that more can be gotten from this. In other words, nothing stops us from being the world's highest producer of industrial starch. Nothing stops us from being the world's most known producer of adhesives. Now, we also know that the production of meat, which is coming mostly from our cows, as a result of the bandits that are harassing people these days here, people are now scared of going to the farms. To stop all of that one, it is necessary to go into piggery. We have also gone into piggery to check and see that this is viable in this part of the world. Besides, it doesn't make any sense to depend on only one source of meat. If we go into piggery, there will be food security as far as protein is concerned. And we know that we have places like Osiguno here, where fish is already in abundance, and we can encourage them to produce even more to meet industrial requirements here. As far as cassava is concerned, we have established that cassava can be used here, and as such, we went into hazardization of Eastern land. There is a group that we put together, which is the Engineer Mike Isewe Foundation. They actually have a consultancy section of it. So anyone who is interested in producing cassava can go up there and get proper information on how to go about it, proper information on storage, and proper information on sales and dispensation of cassava products. We had in this part of the world what you call the marketing boards. They have now been fizzled out for now, But I believe that those government functions must be brought back to enable people actually have where they give up their products and be sure they get their remunerations. And then it is the function of government to now sell these goods out. Besides, they check the quality of the products, which will mitigate the problems we have in exports where our goods are no longer accepted because of sharp practices that happen here.
So I heard you have political interests. Given this history of electoral ringing in Nigeria politics today, what makes you think that 2023 election will be free and fair?
Politicians are usually very optimistic people.
Yeah.
I won't be different in that. I would disappoint you if I say I'm different from being optimistic. However, we can see results that have taken place in recent times. INEC, for example, did very well in the last election they carried out in Anambra State, where we saw that the people rejoiced after the election results were called. If they had done badly there, or if rigging had taken place there, the story would be different there today. So we want to believe that INEC will improve on what they have done so far, and that this method of electronic transfer of data, of results, which the Senate has just approved, would be the one to assist, and because that is the area where rigging usually takes place, when the results are being transferred. The collation centers are usually the places where this rigging takes place. That is now being taken out of it, where these results are transferred electronically and to go down straight to Abuja. Therefore, we believe that the next election will also be free and fair.
So speaking of electricity, which is life wire of any economy, is still epileptic in Nigeria. What can we do to change this?
Well, there are many things that we can do. First and foremost, I would like to draw your attention to the fact that the world is moving away from fossil fuel.
Exactly.
And so electric plants like we have in Igbi, Sapele, Ugeli, and the rest of them are now going to be the old system. In other words, people want to move on to wind, solar, and all types of sustainable and electricity plants. Besides, it is clear that such large plants have failed us all this while.
Exactly.
Well, you have the big plants that we have always had in Sapele, Igbi, and Ugeli, and the rest of them. Those are being phased out because fossil fuel is no longer in because of global warming. Today, the trend is to go in smaller plants, and with the technology we have today, it is possible to have every household producing its own electricity.
Really?
Yes. And to produce even more than that household will require. In other words, you can feed your rest into the national grid and get paid for it. That is possible today. And when people like us have the opportunity, we might be able to influence government to make sure that this is the direction we should be going. And that way, electricity becomes available to everyone.
Really? You mean each family can have excess electricity and also give national grids?
Sure. This is possible.
How is that possible?
This is, I can't give you the details here, but coming in from the engineering and technical point of view, it is possible to have electricity in every home. And in fact, besides that, you can also have solar energy now. We have wind energy and the rest of it. This is possible. So that we are no longer a country without electricity in our homes.